Today we're going to talk about some gold companies that I don't think we've mentioned on this channel before. Without further ado, let's jump right into it. Centerra Gold. This is a company we have not mentioned before. Now, why on earth should this be interesting to you? Obviously, they have a huge resource, as you can see there. In reserves, they have 4.29 million ounces of gold, 1.7 billion pounds of copper too, which is nice because due to the copper deficits coming in the future, and that's at the Mount Milligan resource, which they have been measured and indicated at the Mount Killigan. They have 6.2 million ounces of gold and 2.4 billion pounds of copper in measured and indicated. That's one of the projects. The other one, Chemes Main, has 1.6 million ounces of gold in measured and indicated, 6 million ounces of silver, and 575 million pounds of copper. The underground aspect has apparently 877,000 ounces of gold, 260 million pounds of copper. Comparing it to other gold companies with the price to NAV, you can see there, with other like similar kinds of companies, is with the resource base of like other companies similar. This is obviously from the presentation, so please go check out Centerra's presentation. EV to like the global resource, Centerra is the cheapest one out of these. This and Eldorado Gold looked very interesting when I was looking for like new gold companies that I was considering adding. They have been doing share buybacks the first quarter of 2026. The share price peaked this year at $28 2nd of March. So now it's like $22, $23. The fact that it's doing share buybacks in 2025, their all-in sustaining cost on a by-product basis was $1,200 per ounce. I'm not saying that's going to be the case in 2026 with increasing fuel costs and so forth. In 2025, they produced 148,000 ounces of gold and 50 million pounds of copper. Bear in mind, these are just companies I'm considering or not. Anyway, let's go over to the next one. The next one on the list is Globex Mining Enterprise Inc. Why on earth should you care about this one? Just looking at like random gold companies and resource companies, as you can see there, they've had a little bit of a correction this year from like almost $3 to now $2. Like they are a royalty company and have options, properties that have gold, silver, copper, lithium, iron, manganese and so forth. They have 117 properties. They have 135 properties over like $2 to $3 million used to explore. You see that? A very interesting company. 14% of the shares are owned by management. They have 57 million shares outstanding. They have 80 properties with an historic resource. 135 of them are precious metals related, and some are even in rare earth and industrial minerals and so forth, mostly in like Canada and in the United States and so forth. So they are like a project generator, and they also explore. $40 million in cash currently. They can obviously do more exploring and so forth. As the royalty project, 2% of them of the project are producing. 11% of royalty projects have a historic resource. 16% have a feasibility study. The royalty mix is like a little bit over 50% is like in precious metals, and then obviously the other largest chunk is base metals, then specialty metals, and then some industrial metals. The next on the list is Kenorland Minerals. This is like some of the projects, the NCR one, net smelter rate. These are some of like, they're like major projects, net smelter rates in several projects in Canada, mostly in Quebec, and one in the United States, in Alaska. This is like one of the major projects. Like this Fortet project has 2.5 million ounces of gold at 5.47 grams of gold per ton, 2 million ounces of silver. So that's like, obviously that's not producing, by the way. It's in discovery stage. It's in Quebec. Earlier this year they peaked at 3.5 and now it's like $2.16. Centerra Gold, which we mentioned earlier, has 10%, and then institutions have 17%, management and insiders have 24% of the shares. It's incredible. They are doing more like drill results or like drilling at the Reno Gold deposit. The final company on this list will be Riverside Resources. 8% of the shares are owned by Rick Rule. 12% is owned between like Sprott and Metallium. 9% is owned by the insiders. $5 million in cash. And as you can see there, like it has not corrected as much as like the other ones we've mentioned know, the 5-step process where they like identify a project, de-risk it, partner, monetize the asset, and then like have a royalty spin out or like return on equity. The fact that Rick Rule is invested a huge part in this company. So they've apparently been doing this for 19 years, created 5 companies and a lot of royalties retained on every transaction, and have a growing royalty, 9 NCR. Royalties are advancing under third-party operators. So I hope you thoroughly enjoyed this. This is just some companies I found very interesting, either due to the insider ownerships or so forth. So I hope you thoroughly enjoyed. Like and subscribe, and see you in the next video.